What's up, guys? It's your boy. I just did back, man. It's been a minute, but we're gonna be looking at this Sparking Zero stuff, man. I got to. I have to. I'm gonna turn the volume down on the desktop audio. Y'all really won't need to hear much of it. We're gonna watch the trailer. I'm gonna break down the trailer because there's something in there that I missed that I kind of want to give you an overview of, and a couple other things. But it'll be a short little stream on this, and then I'll be doing breakdowns from now until October, man. So appreciate y'all joining here with me. Let's bring up this trailer here, and I'll make sure it's a good size and all that jazz. Look good to me.
A test of power. I guess we'll see. This will be where the true battle begins.
I will kill you into a million pieces, just like I did that
You talking about Krillin? Don't you dare! Enough with the villain. You will ultimate pride. Are you ready? Do it! Well, the more you slice it, there's one way to save Earth. Goodbye, my friends. No matter what it takes, I need to rescue Goku. Goku, wait! What?
So let's
Goku!
go back here.
Goku, wait!
Let's go back
There's one way to save Earth. Goodbye,
because
my
that's the
friends.
biggest thing that I wanted to talk about. The new possibilities. This right here is mad important. Mad important. Let me see if I can move myself out the way. Ooh, let me see if I can move myself out the way here just for a little bit so I can talk about this, bro. Because this is crazy. This is crazy. Look, so we got the option here now to make certain decisions within the Dragon Ball story. I don't know if this has ever been done in this way. Um, Typically with the Budokai Tenkaichi games, right? You playing the story mode over and you getting all the characters, right? I grew up on like the spinoff, for lack of a better word, spinoff of the Budokai Tenkaichi series, which is the Raging Blast games. And in those games, well, specifically the first game, it has the normal story format. Obviously, there's no switching up any of that. And I've played the older games too, the Budokai Tenkaichi 2 and 3, not the original one, or I guess in Japan, the Sparking. But in Budokai Tenkaichi 2 is kind of the same thing. You just go through the story. Has a lot of more characters, a lot more side characters, a lot more, not a lot of more, a lot more side characters like the for example, the Frieza soldiers. I can't remember their names. Kui is one of them. He's in Rage of Blast 2 though. But then there's like the guy with like the main. I'll pull up a picture of him. Anyways, those characters are in the Budokai Tenkaichi 2 games, and they're side characters. And although it comes with more characters, it's still you're playing the main story mode, and then you have your what ifs and the side battles, yada yada yada. And the what ifs were a separate section. Based upon how I'm looking at this, I could be wrong, obviously, but based upon how I'm looking at this looks like in the story you can choose in the story mode, you can choose what you want to do. And people were saying, like, based upon what they were seeing on the website, like, you can share the battles that you choose to do. So this is insanely interesting, extremely perplexing. I don't know how else to put it. Like, you can now like have the option to go and fight Raditz by yourself if you're Goku. I'm imagining you're always going to be like the main character, be a Goku, be a Gohan, be a Vegeta. You probably won't be, Krillin, maybe once or twice. You know what I mean? So um, this is insanely interesting because there's like how many different possibilities. The possibilities are endless, right? Theoretically, like you could have an infinite number of outcomes that we could do in this one game. And I'll come back to this point as well because it'll bring me to Xenoverse and specifically Xenoverse 2 and what they've done with the game and how they've been able to kind of milk a game for like what 6 years now, 8 years now. But I do like this. This is a game changer, especially if we get to kind of create it ourselves and share it. It won't lose, you won't lose uh, the originality and the creativity, nor the longevity of the game by adding in a tidbit like this. So this was crazy to me when I saw it in the trailer initially. I was like, "Whoa, you can choose now!" I was like, "Whew, you can do that." I mean, this might be the greatest Dragon Ball game. It's already looking like it, like, but that's a piece I needed to discuss. Yeah, like Vegeta. I mean, like just because I talked about it, let me go back. I'll go back to that, but yeah, Goku never did that, bro. Goku, Goku never, ever in the history of history ever say put his body up under the foot of Vegeta's to save Krillin. Never did that happen. Didn't happen in anime. No other Dragon Ball game. I know for damn certain didn't happen in the manga because I would have seen that. Um, and if it did happen in the manga, because I haven't read every single page of the manga, but someone fact check me if this happened in the manga, and this is just a surprise to me 30, 40 years later. Um, but this is crazy. Like never in the history of history has he was getting his butt smashed. He did not do this. This did not happen. But that's cool though. Like there's so many other possibilities. Like what if you could probably do a what if Gohan doesn't go, Great Ape and it's just Krillin and Goku doing the super not the super bomb, the regular spirit bomb. He goes super I didn't notice that before. I didn't notice this was Goku going Super Saiyan in the Saiyan saga. That's crazy. It's hard. It's a small frame. That's why you got to watch stuff over and over again, bro. Because I didn't notice this. I saw people talking about it. And I was like, well, because it then goes to Cell, and I was like, oh, it's just the Cell saga. They're like showing. They show Saiyan. They show Super Saiyan Goku. A quick snippet of him. I thought that was Frieza, and then it goes to Cell. But I saw Great Ape Vegeta in the background. Like, how do we? How do I pinpoint? This is insane. This is an insane screenshot. I did not notice that before. So what if Krillin dies in the Saiyan Saga and Goku goes Super Saiyan in the Saiyan Saga? Huh. Nah, that's different. That's different. They thunk outside the box with this game, man. They I don't know. I don't know if they'll need to do a 2 or a 3 like because of like I'll come back to that point, but man, if you could do infinite possibilities like this, I don't even know because that's crazy to think about. Obviously Goku will win this fight, but like, how far does a can you take this? How far can you take this decision? Is the biggest question. The decisions you make that go against the canon continuity of the story, how far does it take you? Is my question. How far can you go with that? Because at that point you could just make your own story at this point. This is not what Akira Toriyama wrote. This is not he's I hope he's not rolling in his grave thinking about this shit. But like man, like how far can you take this? Because now I'm flabbergasted. I didn't think you could do this. This is like I thought you was like all right, just Goku fights Raditz and instead of Piccolo showing up, I don't know, it's just Gohan and Goku fight for the first time or something. I don't know, and he still dies or whatever. I don't know. Like I didn't think it'd be something this catastrophic or not catastrophic, but like plot changing, I guess, for lack of a better word. This is just crazy to me, man. Let's keep going. That's new to me. I saw this.
You are aggressive, boy! I will show you the true form of autonomous Ultra. My turn, yes. Change everything, let's go! Stop it! Don't think you can win! There is no way of beating this!
All right, hold on. Let's talk about this real quick. Oh, jeez, Louise. The playable character, people have been talking about, it could be another dragon since it's so super focused that it might be, someone from the manga. They're not doing a manga character. No Black Frieza, no Moro, no Granola, none of that is coming. I tell you, I don't work for Shueisha, I don't work for nobody over there in Japan, but I can tell you for a guarantee, bet my bottom dollar, none of them are coming to this game. They're not animated. They can't put the non-animated characters into the game unless they change that rule. That's always been a rule because that's why there's none of them showed up in Fighters. None of them showed up in the Xenoverse DLC, and Xenoverse has been dropping DLC since 2017, and they had to wait until those characters were animated just to do them. And why skip over Granola and Moro and just do Beast Gohan when that stuff came first? Because they can't. So that's number one. That's number one. So it's gonna be a character that we've already seen before. Um, Now I've seen some people or some things say in regards to Bandai that it's gonna be a never before seen character in the games. So an animated character, but someone that was never in any of the Budokai Tenkaichi games or something like that. So that that's a that might be a stretch because there's so many Dragon Ball games and there's so many characters, right? Like I guarantee there may have been, unless it's a Dragon Ball Super character, I can guarantee it. There's probably a character that it like I'm thinking of like a Tarble or someone like so like out of left field, but he was in a Dragon Ball game. So I don't know who they could do unless it's like a super character, which would be nice. Someone from the Tournament of Power. Obviously, they got a plethora of people to choose from there. Um, but I just think with them marketing Gogeta and Broly here, it'd have to be like I'm thinking Golden Frieza. So uh, that remains to be seen. We shall see. Just got to pre-order and get that shit early. We're gonna find out. But this is basically it, anyways. I just wanted to talk about that real quick, and then a couple more items we'll talk about here. Again, Shinron here, right? So a lot of people may or may not know. A lot of people may not know though that in the other games you could collect Dragon Balls for doing certain tasks. I have Raging Blast. I'll stream Raging Blast, and I'll show you what I mean. But you can acquire Dragon Balls, right, and get wishes, and the wishes will give you in-game items. In the past, in Raging Blast 2, I believe it allowed you to get like certain upgrades or a certain amount of Zenny, I believe, which allowed you to purchase like different costumes or different super attacks. Like you get the Super Spirit Bomb after, I believe, doing something with the Dragon Balls. I don't think it was unlocked off the rip, if I'm not mistaken. You had to some way somehow the Dragon Balls were involved with you getting like extra supers, extra um, like battle upgrades and stuff like that. But you couldn't use it online, which was the one thing I didn't like about it. You had to use it, or you couldn't use it in a ranked match. Rather, you could use it in like player matches, but not ranked. And it's kind of like goes against the grain. Like I want to use it, right? But anyways, Shenron, right? In this game, we have the Super Shenron, and then we have the regular Earth Shenron. So I imagine Porunga will be in here too, just because I feel like that'd be crazy not to do him either, because he's so uh, integral to the Dragon Ball story. Like, why do just Super Shenron and the regular Shenron and not him? But I'm excited to see what Super Shenron will have in terms of things that we could wish for. Like, obviously, the regular Shenron is going to be like, quote unquote bottom tier for the stuff that you could wish for and get, right? Because he's the, most basic wish granter. So, um, I'm very curious. I believe I saw some items as well on. Now this hasn't been confirmed either, as far as in regards to what the wishes might be. They're just basing it off what previous wishes were, like in previous games, like wishing for certain characters to be unlocked, or wishing for, like I just mentioned, like super attacks for certain characters be unlocked as well, or costumes was another thing I remember distinctly from Raging Blast 2. You could unlock, some sort of costumes for certain character. So, like I said, I'll stream Raging Blast 2 and I'll show you guys, what it kind of looks like, and we'll go from there. I have some images here just to give you kind of an idea. This is it. Perfect. This is exactly it. And in Raging Blast 1, it looks like. So look right here. This is what it looked like. Uh, I can't remember specifically what the tasks were. Like I said, I'll stream Raging Blast 2 if you guys are just interested in seeing like what possibly you could be doing in the game. Granted, it's gonna be a completely different game, but just to get an idea of how you can get wishes and things of that nature, or Dragon Balls rather, how you can get Dragon Balls to get the wishes, types of things you have to do, yada yada yada, and like I said, in game they'll prompt you, um, with how many wishes you have and all that type of stuff. So I imagine with the Super Dragon Balls, they'll do the exact same thing. Super Shenron, you'll just get better wishes, right? In theory, in theory, I would imagine it would be dumb to have like two Shenrons bare minimum in the game, and then they all have the same wishes. That just doesn't make sense to me. So I guarantee that the wishes between the dragons would be different. You can bash me if I'm wrong in October, but I've been right thus far. I called the game coming out in October and December of last year, so they thought I was crazy, man. But let's hit this last little tidbit here I want to talk about, which is the game itself and what I don't want to happen. And what I don't want to happen is another Xenoverse 2 scenario. And I'll explain what I mean. Xenoverse 2 came out in 2016, October 8th of 2016. I'm not breaking down any other of the game dates, just focus on Xenoverse 2 coming out October 8th, 2016. All right, let's see here. I know it's a little laggy. There's been 17 DLC packs, and the most recent one is this one, and that dropped, I believe, May of this year. DLC 17 Future Saga, May 24th, 2024, and the game came out in 2016. So basically, I say all of that to say, like, why in the world haven't they just released like a Xenoverse 3? And that's what I don't want to happen with this game. I don't want them to release like DLC for this game every like year and then you're just buying DLC. Like, I'd rather them work on a new game and drop it in, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years. Basically, that was my last point, anyways. It's just I don't want it to be like that. I don't want it to be a situation where I am getting DLC for the next 8 years on Sparking Zero 1, is what I don't want. Because what if Sparking Zero 1 is ass? Like, what if it's pure garbage? Like, then we're all gonna be just sitting here getting DLC for a game that's just pure dog. And that's how I felt about Xenoverse 2. Like, I like Xenoverse 1 a lot. I thought it was really good, pretty good. And then they dropped 2, and I was like, oh yeah, why wouldn't I get this one? I got 2, and I was like, it's basically just this one with more, a different story. A different story, more characters, a few more characters, not that many. And, well, at the time, a few more characters at the time, a different story mode, and nothing with the mechanics changed. I think they added, obviously more characters, so more super attacks. But like, it was basically the same game. I feel like, in my opinion, they copy pasted, and I just didn't like that. So, and them dropping DLC constantly on this same game, which is basically just Xenoverse 1. Now, I don't know what bugs and other stuff that they fixed or that they've added to, kind of make the game fun and make it different. I imagine if they're dropping DLC for this game, there has to be some player base, right? For the past 8 years, there has to be some player base. So, I take my word with a grain of salt, but I just don't want this for this game or want that for this game because I don't know. None of us have played Sparking Zero, right? So it could be a lot of different things that need to be fixed. This is it's first of its generation, so I would rather them drop this game, drop a couple packs of DLC between with the season pass. I say the game comes out in October, so a year from October, so October 2025 we should have gotten, I would say, like 2 or 3 packs for DLC. I say close to 3 or 4 packs. Um, by that point, different drops of DLC between, beginning of 2025, maybe spring of 2025 or summer of 2025, and then around, its year anniversary for the game again. And then going into 2026, I would like to see, um, some type of update on, whether it's just going to be continuous DLC or they're working on a Sparking Zero 2 going into 2026. That would be the ideal situation for me. Whether the game is fantastic, greatest Dragon Ball game I've ever played, or it's complete utter dog. Like either way, that's the kind of the outcome that I would want. I mean, in a perfect world, I guess if this is like the best Dragon Ball game, like they shouldn't touch it at all. Then going the Xenoverse 2 route of dropping DLC consecutively, I'd be open to it if it came with other things. Like it couldn't just be character packs every time. Like I need some other, a new story mode, which is kind of a crazy thing to put in a DLC pack. Some maybe some new mechanics. Some new, like the story changing is a fantastic idea, and it changes the landscape of the game. Like I would need something else to drop in that DLC pack, which I don't know if they could do. I feel like they would have to create a new game, like copy and then keep the good stuff and then add in um, um, those new for lack of a better word, mechanics or I'm blanking on the word I want to use. Uh, Themes, I guess, for lack of a better word, themes of for how the game is run, how that specific Sparking Zero 2 game would run. I would need that to be in the DLC, which would be hard to do. I think they're better off just making a new game, having this one be that theme where we can switch the stories around, and then Sparking Zero 2 to be a totally different theme. That's what I think would benefit us as the consumer and them as the producer, because they make more money off of making a new game because people are just going to buy the new game. Not everyone buys the DLC, right? And then, after a certain point, it gets kind of repetitive, right? I imagine that's what happened with Fighter Z, or Fighters rather. Like I bought that game. I'm not a big 2D fighter person, but I knew at some point it wasn't going to be like Xenoverse, because obviously at that point they were dropping DLC for Xenoverse 2, and I'm like, well, this is a 2D fighter. Like they're only adding characters, and at a certain point they're gonna have to do a new game. So I think the last DLC character they dropped in that one was Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. So um, that's kind of its own thing. But to do a Fighters 2 on that, you kind of have to. It'd be a little bit different because that's a 2D fighter. You're always gonna that's gonna be the core of the game. But change the story mode, do something like that. Those bigger themes that are being changed, I always suggest, just doing a completely new game. Like I rather, I give you $60, $70 again, in 2 years time, as opposed to me paying $25, once a year for you. Or I could do that all at once in a year for a new game, right? If that makes sense. Instead of me paying $25 for a DLC pack every year, a season pass every year for the next 5 years, I'll just pay my $100 now to get the first season pass. It should come with everything. Maybe another season pass I might have to get a year from now. So I'll be end up spending 125. And then going into 2026, right? Yeah, a year from now, 2025. So going into 2026, hearing news about Sparking Zero 2, and then I'm just doing that again. I'm just paying $100 off the rip for that new game in the end of 2026, or I don't know how long we'll be playing Sparking Zero 1, but that's kind of like my mind frame of it. I think that makes most sense for them, most sense for us, because there's only so much you can charge for a DLC pack that people will actually buy, as opposed to a brand new game. If people are gonna, you see how many people pre-ordered the premium collector's edition for Sparking Zero 1. Like they're gonna get the most bang off their buck from just doing a new game 2 years from now, as opposed to trying to keep a dead game alive if it starts to die. And at some point, all games do start to die. Like, I don't know how Xenoverse 2 has been going on this long, but that's an enigma. I think it's been dying. It's just they got the money to to make the DLC pack, so why not? It's not like a smaller franchise. Uh, so the Dragon Ball anime specifically, its anime gaming community specifically is a little bit different, but that's what I would think would be best. And plus, I know if you guys don't follow them or follow him, you should. Geekdom 101, definitely recommend him. He not only confirmed that like for the next 10 years, well, he didn't confirm it. It was like somewhere written by I believe like one of the producers of Dragon Ball that for the next 10 years we're gonna get Dragon Ball content. So from now to at least 2034, we're gonna get some form of Dragon Ball content every year, whether it's a game or whether it's a movie. We're getting Daima in October as well. So, um, obviously, I don't want to be playing Sparking Zero One 10 years from now. I think that'd be a flop on their part. But I guess at this point, I'm rambling. I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan. I appreciate you guys tuning in for the stream. If you guys just came, just hopping in for the first time, I stream not daily anymore, but once this game comes out, I will be streaming more often. Huge anime fan. I break down anime like itself. I break down like we watch Blue Lock on stream, we watch JJK on stream. Uh, I play video games on stream when I have the time, um, and I will be doing more of that soon. Like I said, as we approach the date. But mostly, I just do general anime funny content, do voiceovers. So if you want to check those out, by all means, please do. But this was it for today. I just needed to break this stuff down. This was a long time coming. Like I said, in December of last year, they dropped the character trailer, and people were kind of speculating, oh, when's it coming out? When's it coming out? And it's 2025. Is it gonna be? Is it gonna be this? It's gonna be? And I'm like, I kind of called it then and there, and I take pride in that calling that date back in December that it was gonna drop in October. It just that's when they drop their games, and you gotta know. You gotta be a fan. You gotta be in it to know. And at the rate that they were dropping these trailers and stuff like that, it made sense for this year. They wouldn't have dropped a gameplay trailer in January, February, or maybe that was March, earlier this year, whenever it was. They wouldn't have dropped that gameplay trailer if that game wasn't coming out this year. Not Bandai, not you know the publishers that do the Dragon Ball games. They wouldn't have dropped that this year if it wasn't coming out this year. So glad that I was right. Glad that I was I don't want to toot my sound like I'm tooting my own horn, but I'm just happy the game's coming out this year because I couldn't have waited that long either. Maybe I was in denial really, but either way, appreciate you guys tuning in. Sorry I haven't been able to view any comments on here. And I was trying to do 15, but when you're talking about something you love, man, you get the rambling, and I've had my experiences, man. So appreciate y'all. I will, like I said, be streaming some Rangers of the Last Two. I don't know how many people are in here. I will be streaming that, and like I said, showing off the Shinron stuff. Uh, kind of like how that works a little bit, and then we'll go from there. So I'll be back. We'll be breaking down stuff between now and October. When news comes out, I'll post it either on my TikTok or maybe Twitter. Definitely on TikTok, and I'll give my honest thoughts and opinions on it and try and keep you guys updated as well. So appreciate you guys tuning in with me. Be safe, be cordial, and be respectful. And yeah, see y'all on the flip.